The only four nations in the world has got deep space exploration. India among the four. India is the only country who started his space program for a peaceful purpose. The space has got involvement in every aspect of our life. Start coming from 2010 onward. The early startups were there, about 5-6 people. We have adding almost close to 50-60 startups every year.
Why is it that India is way ahead in space as against various other defense verticals?
The journey started somewhere in 60s by Vikram Sarabhai, who was a visionary, and he started very humbly with this at its core. Now ISRO has, because India is the only country who started his space program for a peaceful purpose. The rest of the world started with the military purpose. That is the distinct nature of the India space mission. So none of them reached till now. ISRO has sent out certain satellites for the strategic use, but most of the satellites are for the commercial or peace, for governance use. So all this journey, ISRO has the capability, full capability in the space that we can call 360-degree space capability. The only four nations in the world has got deep space exploration capabilities. India among the four. India among the 7 nations, the League of Nations, which has the launching capabilities. It means the rest of the world is lacking. So India has in a leading position. So the industry which has grown along with ISRO is not only the R&D arms or our breakout into the space, but they also taken along the industry. So all the Gaganyaan mission or Chandrayaan mission or Aditya L1, which is solar mission, the future mission, the Venus, Mars, and our space station, which is coming up, this all has got almost close to 80% of the private sector involvement. So the confidence of the ISRO, and they build that ecosystem along with the industry to go along with it. However, the industry has grown along the ISRO for the last 25 years, and they built up quite a large capability with them. But there is a transition phase has come, journey started in 2018 with the launch of digital communication policy, which was announced by Department of Telecommunication. The first time they have included satellite proliferation, satellite liberalization for the commercial use and private player to come in free. And 2020 onward, the government has started series of policy reform, one after the other. Like the last, from 2018 to 2024, we have close to about 7 to 8 policy reform. All space activities will be done by NG, which is non-government entities. And ISRO will be doing R&D and strategic missions. So it means that the rest of things have to be done by the private sector.
So my question is that this is a unique industry in that it's high-tech on one hand, predominantly, ISRO. So how did this proliferation of interest by private sector happen? And you told me yesterday that there are some 600 companies which are participating in this growth. So how did that happen?
See, all these companies, most of them has grown along with ISRO, that ecosystem of the ISRO. Because they were supplying the subsystem or design or some part of that, along with the ISRO. So they have grown along with that for the last 25 years. And the startup start coming from 2010 onward. So the early startup were there, about 5-6 people. Now we have adding almost close to 50-60 startups every year. Now we have 250 plus startups. So 600 companies, which I said, it is include 100 plus the medium to large companies, and about 300 about SME company, and the rest of the startups. And ISRO has been bifurcated into 3 arms after the policy. One arm is looking after the commercial launch of the vehicle, which is NSIL, New Space India Limited. And they have brought it an authorization and promotion agency called InSpace. That's job is to grant, authorize and promote. So that arm has come out. So ISRO job has led to only R&D. So it means that the authorization part, promotion part will be done by InSpace, and the commercial part, the launch of vehicles, things by the NSIL. So ISRO is now doing a strategic development, enhancement of R&D. It means the there is an era of new space economies start emerging from 2020 onward. It means earlier, which is ISRO-led space economy, now it has to new space economy started.
What are the barriers to a new company coming into this space? Because there are security issues and so on. Can anyone come in?
Space sector encompasses all the technology, whether it's, and all the technology is all the verticals of the technology, whether it's electrical, mechanical, the physics, the earth science, everything has compassed. That's built up that. But the designing part is done by those scientists and engineers which bring those payloads and put up on the satellite. So I'm coming forward that they have built up quite a large capability and capacity both by this company who was working with ISRO. Now they are hungry. They need to do more business. So they have to find homegrown market as well as foreign market. So let me talk about homegrown market. A homegrown market is that the defense is started looking for space applications, space uses for their own strategic use purpose. So that way SIA, which is a Space Industry Association, has come into being, and it's become a platform for both users and providers who come together and talk. So when the number of policy reforms are taking place, it is very important that the four pillars of the business is whether your policy should be in place, then policy should be well regulated, and it depends on the standardization.
Excellent.
And these three pillars combined with for the business part, which drives ease of doing business. So ease of doing business, these three has to be synced together, and it has to work dynamically. So it all has to work in tandem. So it is happening to some extent, but it's not.
So where are the barriers?
The barrier is regulatory. This required a regulatory certainty because you plan something because you can't change the rule of the game middle of the fight. So you decide something to goes forward, you can't hold back. For example, foreign direct investment. It was announced that 100%, the three-tier of FDI, which is 100%, 75%, 49%. So we hope that this will continue or that will further simplify. If 2, 3 years down the line, they say, no, they changed the policy for FDI. There's those people who are planning to invest for a long term, they will take it back. So what I mean is that it has to have a regulatory repository certainty to drive the market forward. So I hope that this policy will be long-term policy. It is that, and there is another big setback, or not setback. This is the vacuum which we felt that there is no space act available in the country. Without having a space act or space bill, these policies can be interpreted differently.
You said now with these 600 companies coming in, maybe more, their appetite for business is growing.
Yes.
Which will not be met by ISRO.
Yes.
So you're looking at other domestic buyers.
Absolutely.
One of them is the military.
Yes.
So if you were to be speaking to the Chief of Army, Navy and the Air Force, what are the things that you can give to them which will be useful to them? So
that's why we have created this platform, DEFSAT. DEFSAT is the meeting of the minds, meeting of their requirements. One side is the defense requirements, other side the industry. The aspiration, requirement by the defense forces are going to be met by the Indian industry or not. So we have to start working towards that. So this is the third edition in a row, and we also conduct a in-space war game, which is a tabletop exercise. It's the first time the private sector is doing it. So in this, we will build up the future scenario where the defense is looking forward. And now the global conflict is coming, so that this happened in the last 2-3 years. So the whole world is looking into different world, how the space will utilize for as a war, space. The Ukraine-Russia conflict, now the Israel-Hamas conflict.
Can you give some examples, specific examples of where they can use space? If you were speaking to the Chief of Army, Navy or Air Force?
No, they are well aware about the use of space because they need a number of satellites to maneuver, look around not only our region, but we have to spread around other region also. We have to keep surveillance and looking into the data. So right now, the satellites which we have currently, they have the revisit time is not adequate. The revisit time is 2 days or 3 days. So we require revisit. Defense required revisit time at least 2 hours. It means if you have a 2-hour revisit time, you need number of satellites hovering over and one by one looking the imagery and give the real time is wish list, but you can't have real time. But you can analyze because 2 hours is good enough. And then you also need accuracy in the image, because right now we have reached up to the 30 centimeter accuracy. We want more accuracy to be done. So that in that case, resolution accuracy. So if we reduce the accuracy to sub 30 centimeter, then we will be able to visualize very small details of the movement. So that's why that's the requirement of the defense. Defense requirement is the yesterday, and today industry has to come up. So that's the number of. First of all, there's a major challenge, that's procurement process. The defense procurement process is the same across whether you're buying ammunition, you're buying electrical things, or you buying tanks.
Are you suggesting that space be dealt differently?
The procurement process is so long. By the time it takes about 2-3 years, because there, as I said, the defense requirement was yesterday. And if we are not able to meet the requirement for the next 2 years, 3 years, the new technology will come out. We keep lagging behind. So that when I say the policy regulation has to work in tandem, or it has to work dynamically, it means the same. It happens with the procurement process.
The material which goes into your industry, the raw material, right? It's high tech. Much of it is imported from abroad. Am I right?
You're right.
What is the status on that? What is imported from abroad? How long will it take us to become self-sufficient in that?
No, our dependency on imports of the components for the space, it's very heavy, because we hardly have that kind of a industry indigenized which can take care of that. So I can say that it is close to 90% of this import. So 90% import, and whatever goes in the space, it's meant for dual use, say for civil and the military use. So there are a number of countries where we import this material, they have a restriction on that, export restriction. Because the geopolitical situation is changing, the supplier countries, we have building a very good relationship, whether US, America, France, Germany. So they are looking India as a friendly country, and they are still working on to how to do away with those restrictions. They're working hard, but since that is coming from the ages, and there is a lot of things, and it is also our friendship with Russia. So they always see that Russia, if the India has or something, the Russia is their friend country. That's the suspicion of their end.
So do you think the private sector will be able to bridge this import and get into some self-sufficiency? Is some work happening there?
It's happening, but more have to be done from the government side, because we are starting from to some level. We have to reach up to the level might take about a couple of years, or maybe about 5 to 8 years. So the
other thing which you mentioned is that there are a large number of institutes of technology. Do we have the manpower which can feed into this system?
Unfortunately not, because aerospace engineering is not being taught in most of the engineering colleges, because there is no taker in the sense. Now there is an aspiration for the young people to go in the space sector. Slowly that will ramp up, but we need to ramp up our existing engineering college with some kind of a finishing program where they can teach or they can train. So as an association, we are working with the academic institution, and there we will build up the foreign collaboration. So the foreign collaboration, they have the teaching materials, and they have the curriculum, this thing. So we bring it in collaboration with that. There is a collaboration is being done with our academic institution, with the foreign. So they will bring out those teaching modules, and then they will get trained there.
If you were to look at markets beyond India, since you said we are one of the 4 large players in the space industry, how does that look?
Okay, I'll just give you one small example. About 2 years or 2.5 years back, there is a study conducted by Australia. What are the technological space capability skill gaps they have to identify? They identify about 5 technological skill gaps which Australia has not having. And they map India. India has all the technology skill gaps. They don't have the gap. So it means they're leaning towards India to adopt or get those technologies. So it means India has got technologies, all kind of technology availability. So the foreign countries are heavily deployed on having those technology from India. The technology could be done in a partnership, in a collaboration or co-development. So India, we are promoting or we are advocating that foreign countries who are having a, advancement in terms of the technology, space technology, they should come to India. They do co-development, they co-produce, and then scale it up to serve the rest of the world. So that's which is happening right now. The another area where the developing world, like we released today, Africa, we released a book on Africa, how India can work with African countries. We also signed a MOU with Ghana. So right now we have a very good space application tools. We have available with us. Our industry is well equipped to do that. So once we map the African continent or any other countries, we can handhold them.
You think we will become globally a major power?
We will become their partners in that sense, because there is for example, if the satellite is developing, if something designed payload has to be done, so that could be bring down to India, or it can be launched from India. That's why the country like Australia is designing some satellite. The certain payload has been designed in India, and their launch is taking from India. Agreement has been signed by certain Australian company with NSIL to launch, and a few companies, our member companies, are building their satellites here.
If you would give a message to the government, what would your message be?
Our message to government is they have excellent policy. They have also they have putting their word there with the policy. They're it's there. They're putting the funds also put it, but the implementation part is little taking. But those people who are aspiring to get funded, it's a long way for them to get. They need to be simplified. The deep space tech companies or the startups should be looked differently than the normal startups. And another area where somewhere the CSR funding was allowed for R&D. So that CSR funding should be allowed for the space development as well. So that's the area will help. And then, like that, defense has come out with IDEX challenges. They came out over 75 challenges. I see the rest of other ministry, if they come out over 10 challenges, 15 challenges from them, I think they will give a lot more work for the industry as well. One more thing which we think, the 600 company, what capabilities they have, nobody knows. And finding that someone has got semiconductor, somebody has got propulsion system, somebody has got nano tube system. It is very difficult which company. So we are going to launch a space industry e-catalog. The beta version is on right now. We're going to launch soon, which is all 600 companies will be listed out there. At any given time, it is searchable data. You want to search from domain, you want to search for the company, you want to search from the location, you can search for the size of the company, their investment, what is their space heritage, all will be there in one go. So investors, the procurements, the collaborator, these people, they can just click a button, they can find their partners. That will help the industry to reach out.
You've expanded your markets to Homeland Security. What would you say to the Ministry of Home?
Homeland Security is way behind than our armed forces, where they are the first, defense. So they need to be equipped with a satellite. So there should be no more incident like 2611, which happened in Bombay. They should be well equipped to notice what is happening over there. So the technology, satellite technology, can provide that information. So as is that they have to ramp it up quickly to embrace satellite technology for use of them. So terrestrial technologies are good, but in the need of hour, it get failed or it get destroyed. Where the satellites work very well in the disaster and the area where there is no connectivity.
What's your final message?
Start believing in the industry. Industry has delivered. We have stood with the thick and thin with the ISRO, all missions. So trust industry, take industry as a partner. not like a vendor. As the missions given by our Prime Minister, that we wanted to make it self-reliant, and also we wanted to make it Viksit Bharat by 2047. And I think this is the industry which can lead and act like a changing agent. The space has got involvement in every aspect of our life, whether it is our day-to-day life, whether it's a communication, whether it's a technical use, whether it's a strategic use, everywhere the satellite is being used. So I think we have to give a special emphasis to satellite. Our policies, our regulation has to be framed such a way that it enhances them, not to restrict them. Thank you.